Hello, everyone. Welcome back for the Love of Health web show. And we are bringing special and spectacular guests from the herbal wellness industry and also holistic healthcare as a whole. And tonight we have a very special guest. This is someone who I have been watching and admiring for many a years now. And so if you're tuning in now today for the Fresh Live or for the replay, you are in for a serious treat. This is Caitlin Woolery. And Caitlin has an incredible bio, which we're going to like pull up and just read a little bit because it's kind of amazing. For the scope of the show, I want what we're really trying to focus on and put our content in front of. We're putting our content in front of holistic health practitioners, Caitlin, so people who are very active in the health and wellness space. So what I want you to do, everybody, is to stop what you're doing and go over to Caitlin Woolery on Facebook and follow her. Okay. So that there you go. That's the quick little fast promo here. But Caitlin is a very gifted practitioner, and she's been a practitioner of mine. She's who I turn to for health advice when I need it. Because let's be honest, you can be really good at holistic health and still need a holistic health specialist in your life. Let's be honest, that's a very important thing. I want to
I
get
do
your thoughts.
too. We all need our team.
We do. Right? Like I don't know where this concept came about where it's like, oh well, yeah, you're a great healer, so you must know how to take care of yourself. Yeah, we do, but like we have to refill our well even more so than most people. So it's great to have that objective team that you're there for and you're holding you accountable. But Caitlin is a force, okay? So if you have ever if you have any fear about speaking on social media, Caitlin can totally understand what you're going. It's interesting that we're actually going live on Facebook, isn't it, Caitlin? That we're
That's
we're
funny. That's funny.
we're
I'm
streaming live on Facebook where you've lost your platform before. You were banned on YouTube, is that correct? I hate to maybe
YouTube
we
and
should
Etsy.
yeah, using code words here.
Okay.
So right. So Caitlin has fallen victim to censorship from platforms, only to rise like a phoenix from the ashes, to have an incredible following. When we're talking about, and this is, I talk to people who are health professionals who are trying to get their voice, get their leg in the industry, right? Where Caitlin has no issue with. This is where she goes online, she speaks, and people listen. And I just want to just say that, she's one of the very best when it comes to speaking with conviction, speaking truth, and really letting people know case study work, real in time work, operational reality work of what it means to be serving people holistic wellness in today's really overly saturated marketing world. So she is a naturopathic medicine practitioner and clinical master herbalist, and she became fascinated with alternative forms of healing while achieving her Bachelor of Arts at UC Berkeley. She travels a lot and she talks about that a lot and really comes to people with her personal experiences with healing from wherever she's tuning in from. So, Caitlin, welcome to our platform, to Laura's Botanicals tonight. We love having you.
Thank you. And I love being here with you too. I've learned so much from you as well. You are gifted in an area that I am ignorant about. So we make a good team.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, I just got to say, like, I think that your practical approach to community as of late has been so approachable. One, you tune in to media only when you really have the energy to do so. Can you speak on that a bit? Why you think that approach has been so potent and why people have plotted that and been saying yes to you so often?
Well, I spent a lot of time building trust and I I pick and choose. I call it the spark. So I'll post when I feel like an intuitive hit really comes in and it's just right to it. And I do appreciate what you said. And I think it ties into the feminine principle is like being rather than doing and not forcing ourselves so hard in this like productive, yang, deranged society of going, going, going. And so really honoring the push and the pull or pulling the boomerang back and being okay with stillness in order to move it forward faster. So a combination of that and then really just coming to Facebook with something to sell when I know that I can back it with my entire heart. I would say that that pretty much summarizes it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and it's so well put, and it's so evident that people are craving, not just hungry, but craving the next thing you're going to say, not just because it's some information that they want to use or some type of information they've been seeking, but that they really want to live inside the principles that you're teaching. You really do speak from conviction, which is a very deep and different place than just promoting or just having a one-off experience or a little burst or an ignition that doesn't have gasoline behind it. Whereas your movement is gasoline that's always being thrown upon this already stoked fire that you actually feed from personal experiences that you are living. You're living the truth. And then the fact on top of that is that you have been rejected from some major platforms for the things you say. Not everybody feels safe enough to come out from their modality, from the hierarchy or the kind of patriarchal systems that we set in place to say that this work is good enough to just actually speak on our experiences.
Mm. Super poetic. That was really, really well articulated.
Thank you. I'm glad it was recorded because God,
Yeah.
I've been trying to say that for a while. I mean, we just want this like we want this affirmative space where like everybody notices our work and we think that's enough, but really all we're doing is just putting a stamp on another system where someone tells us what to do, and that we are only good enough when we fit these boxes.
Yeah. And I wonder if I'm thinking about that in terms of that context is really, I'll have to do some meditation on this, but I left society for a really long time, and I was homeless and living on beaches because I didn't want anything to do with the box of society and all the demands and cookie cutter ways of being. And I woke up to how much corruption there was in not only the medical industry, but like all of society in general. And I just got this like, for lack of a better word, F it. I'm going to be in the truth and speak it super loud. And for some reason, our good friend on this platform has let me. And it's been, yeah, I think that part of it has been a big driving force as well, breaking down the boxes. I liked how you said that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this particular platform will work with the tides as the politics are whatever is affluent, right? Like it's like it changes, it ebbs and flows to whatever system they need to go with. So, but what did you do as a response? Didn't you build your own system and now you have a whole community on a different platform?
I did. I got a little unnerved when the 2023 I went on the Heal podcast and spoke about parasites as the ivermectin thing was still really hot and banned, and they did not like that I talked about the parasites, so they banned my YouTube channel, and I was unnerved, and I didn't like the fact that there was all the conglomeration of power and control in that way. So I built for years, it's still being built. It's the slowest moving project I've ever worked on, but a private membership community where I could speak and say whatever outside of the handcuffs.
I think the platform is amazing, and your community, you have the socials, you promote this community in a very like heart to heart, like very accurate way too, and people can enter this community, and it's absolutely fantastic. There are some things that absolutely intuitively make sense to me about the human body and how to take care of it from your trainings. So like specifically the upper gut function and understanding whether or not I have low or high acid, and how that impacts the beginning of digestion and what happens when we actually don't digest the foods properly, the release of gases in the lower gut. You just made it all make such practical sense, and to put things in the framework of protocols that I could then learn and follow, very non-nonsense, just get to the point and learn the body, and also don't skip out the important parts of the rest, the food, really what has to happen, and also how you give credence to other forms of diets that might need to be followed if someone is actually more further along in a health concern, like the GAPS diet or something that's more specific to happen first. So I love how you just connect the stages of healing in a very practical way.
Thank you. I love that you had an expert pair of eyes in there to look at that, to look at the protocol and to hear from another practitioner the feedback. That might be the first time I've heard feedback from another practitioner on one of the protocols, because usually it's just, kind of um, uh, people not in the field that are going through those. So that's really, really great to hear that. Thank you for the feedback.
Yeah, absolutely. Very approachable. And I think it speaks to the future of what is possible for a lot of other practitioners who is, again, who I'm speaking to directly. It's the matter of what else is possible in this service based space to be able to make an impact, not just on what we can do to help decrease the symptoms that someone is facing, but to create a space where they can explore it themselves and learn how to practice on themselves so they have better tools for self-diagnosis, self-assessment, and self-healing.
It's been a really interesting thing and also very my favorite part about it is that the cost of intake is really high and follow-ups one-on-one individual consultation is it's demanding of the practitioner. It's really, really demanding of the practitioner and it's really expensive for the client. And so moving into this new model was very helpful because for $22 a month, people can have access to like almost an overwhelming amount of information and it's the same stuff I would sit and say in the private consult is now just evergreen recorded for anyone to come in and go throughout their leisure for a super minimal fee. And it's worked out pretty well so far.
Yeah, I love it. It's a unique process that everyone can benefit from that is coming through. And then potentially there could be some independent needs that come out from the actual work they're doing within that program. So, and then you could create even more significant offers or invitations, including some of these new customized products that you're making and some beautiful experiences. Other than that, and you have community calls and things like that. It's just all really, really lovely. So, yeah, I mean, where is the future you think for herbalists? I mean, what kinds of directions do you think people should be going in when it comes to exploring and using herbs?
Okay, well, it's about to explode. I mean, this industry, my sister just sent me a message. She's in high tech and she has been pro pharma. I've been the black sheep, and she just sent me a message and she's like, how do I detox this certain thing out of my system and how do I cleanse parasites? And she's like, I want to leave high tech and come work for you because your industry is the future of humanity. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe my pro pharma, this is my pro pharma sister saying this. And so I feel like we're at the precipice of a system breakdown for an old industry that's based on largely a lot of deceit and corruption and profit. And we are going to, I feel like humanity is at a crisis moment where we are either going to collapse the genome with this generation 6 and under with so much toxicity, or we're going to return and remember the old ways. And I feel like we're going to return and remember the old ways. It's just happening in masses. People are waking up to this stuff and wanting different solutions as they're failed by the system. So what I see for the herbalists, all the people that are called to be herbalists, is right here to pick up the pieces and to hold all those people that are leaving in exodus the old system and coming back to the natural ways. So, I mean, this is the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think return, like you said, like returning to the natural way too is like, looking within the systems that they are learning within. And I think for me, the word that's been coming up so much for me lately is the word consistency. Consistency is so different than just applying the knowledge here and there. It's like really staying within the groove, which I love about your platform and I love about you. You are consistent. Whenever you feel like there's a feeling that comes up that's uncomfortable and you're like, you know what, I'm not ready to face that, you don't. You go out into nature, you go back to the source where you know you're going to be able to refill your battery and have the capacity for better truth speaking. So how do you stay consistent?
That's exactly it. Honoring less is more principle. It really is. Like, the quote, it's my favorite quote in the Tao, nature never hurries, yet everything is done. And so really just like moving slow and accomplishing a lot in that slowness and taking a lot of time with God and nature. I mean, that's it. And then letting source do the heavy lifting.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, it really is a change and a shift in the intentionality, which is a great segue too, because I am going to be speaking on a couple different wellness business principles after our call tonight. So just to wrap up our call, yeah. So how would you? What are some of like your mainstay principles for staying well while doing wellness for others? This could be a very helpful time for everybody to hear some of the things that are suggested to remain well and steadfast in our missions.
Oh, it's so critical because the second we don't fill our own cup, it's just like the resentment towards the practice kicks in and we lose the passion and the heart-driven motivation. So, for me, my relationship with God and higher power, meditation, and working on clearing out regularly my own shadows, my own fears, my own projections, and really sitting with the lessons that I need to learn to become a better person. So I'm not carrying the weight of any shadow buildup, basically. So that keeps me energized and all again doing that all with God. And then lots of time in stillness. Like I walk the beach regularly. I'm out hiking in the deep wilderness. I'm like sitting with plants and nature, swimming. I'm always finding at least like 2 or 3 times a week I'm out bonding with nature and letting that fill deeply. And then practicing what I preach. I go go to the raw farmers, I get the raw dairy, I go shop at the places where I know the farmers are growing my carrots in an heirloom variety and getting my body full of the food with the highest chi and the highest potential for a high frequency vibration. Um, Lots of sleep. Lately, it's been getting off the internet when the sun goes down so that my nervous system isn't fried from the blue light has been giving me huge amounts of energy. So yeah, basically walking the talk is the number one priority and then giving from the inside out because of that. It's a really good question.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we are all just, we're all feeling and, being is, trying to step more into what we really want to be is a huge thing, and how that reflects in our ability to help others do the same, because it's not just this one directional way to heal. There's multiple ways and aspects that can be discovered, uncovered, and even helping our people discover for themselves. So, is there anything else that you wanted to share, like in general, as a message to other holistic health practitioners this evening?
Ooh, gosh. In general, I don't know. Are these people just starting?
So a lot of them are just starting, and many of them are not. They're people who are active in their practices and who are just really exhausted or burned out, looking for really other ways to develop things that are beyond the norm.
Oh, I love it. Okay. So, I mean, if there is exhaustion or burnout, I would say exhaustion and burnout is the most common thing for the advanced practitioner, and then imposter syndrome is the biggest hurdle for the new person starting. So, it's this weird thing is that we get into this drive, like we have to keep pushing in order to be successful, when I found the exact opposite is true. Oftentimes, the more I've pushed past exhaustion to try to achieve a career marker, the more prone I am to fail at that thing. And it's been when I've pulled back and really centered, even if it's sometimes been 3 months of stillness, trusting the universe to bring the money. And then it's like the boomerang principle, right? We're pulling back, pulling back, pulling back, honoring, and then launching out forward. And then a lot of people that are new practitioners in my community, everyone touches on the imposter syndrome. So, like, if you are new and you think you can't, or you don't know all the things, or you sit in front of a client and you're frozen because you're new and you don't know which way to go, I promise that if you know just a little bit more than the person you're trying to help, you're going to do them a favor. And everyone put in front of you to help is there by a divine cord and a karmic connection. So move through it, even if that imposter syndrome says, like, I can't or I won't. Hear it. Hi, thank you for that voice. I'm going to anyways now. So, yeah.
I love that so much, and it's just been an amazing conversation. I'm going to go ahead and share the screen for everybody. And Caitlin, just let me know if you can see my screen.
Guess I
Can you
can.
see? You can see your page. So go ahead and make sure that you go and follow Caitlin Woolery, and make sure to follow her so that you get see all of her posts, because she doesn't post often, and when she does, it creates huge impact. So hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people liking her posts. This is all organic, right? This is people who really are hearing and really pay attention to how she frames her conversations, how she speaks about her case studies, and just feel the difference, because it's truly working. It's one of the best evidence. I love watching Caitlin's journey and Caitlin's story. And also her invitations are truly heartfelt, and people just pay attention to how other people are working in the space beyond the norm, beyond the space that we are seeing where it's just, it has to be this one way or the other. Actually, there's quite a bunch of ways to do it. So Caitlin's just such a wonderful example. And Caitlin, do you have a book yet?
No, I want
I
to do a
want a book.
school.
I want one.
I want a book. I'm working on a school right now to certify. I want to be one of the first schools that certifies in specialty lab teaching how to read specialty labs and herbal energetics. So I'm building out a school, and maybe
Cool.
you and I should talk about that when the time comes too, to like,
Cool. Yeah.
to
Yeah.
collaborate.
Yeah, another colleague who I've had on the show, Sandy Gascon, might be a really great contact for you. She created a functional medicine type of training school, and her approach is great. Her book Heal Herself has just been so helpful to especially understand pharmaceuticals and moving away from pharmaceuticals for mental illness. So she's just so great. And honestly, that's part of your bio too. I've always mentioned your name when someone talks to me about needing help for autism, for childhood illnesses, because I know that you have a lot of clinical practice and background in that. That's correct, right?
Yeah, these little sweet kids. This I call them the crisis generation, 6 and under. So much. I did not intend for that to be my area of specialty. It happened. That just happened, and yeah, it's been an intense and really potent journey with that.
Yeah, there's so much conversation. Of course, it's always shrouded in like concern and really a lot of worry. And so it is helpful just to have people who can calmly walk you through a process rather than coming at this with a lot of emotional intensity. So it's really nice to see that you do have offerings that are specific and strategic within that with your protocols. Well, thank you so much, Caitlin, for showing up. And I'm going to be shifting into some different talk for the last few minutes. But thank you so much for coming on our conversation today.
Thank you so much for having me here and nice to meet everyone. I look forward to connecting with you, Laura. I know you have a really beautiful community yourself, so I look forward to meeting your friends.
Thank you. Have a
Should
good
I
day.
hang up?
Yeah, that would be great. Actually, I think I will just continue going live on the same. Thanks, Caitlin.
Okay, bye everybody.
So friends, I know that like every single day is like a new opportunity to learn to grow. So I just wanted to share a few things today based on the ways to organize wellness business without overwhelm. So we just talked to Caitlin Woolery, and she spoke about the ability to leave the business and come back and have even more potent um, impact on her social media. And I showed her timeline, and it's very obvious that she gets a lot of attention, right? She holds the attention and she builds genuine rapport with her people. That is what we want in our businesses if we're going to be using social media. And social media really does close that time in which someone gets to know you and buys from you quicker because they really feel that sense of trust and pure, genuine connection. But overall, I first wanted to talk about, 5 steps to organize the wellness business without overwhelm. That was my promise for this evening, because I hear from a lot of practitioners that they are very overwhelmed or that they just don't have enough time. They need more time to do blank. They just need more time. How can they get more time? The truth of the matter is, if you want more time, you have to do less. And I just love that Caitlin resonated that exact principle within our talk just a few minutes ago, live here on Lara's Botanicals, because time is the most beautiful thing that we have, and it truly has to be potent how we use it and deliver it if we're going to be effective using business and using transactions and having services, which is truly the essence of selling anyway, right? Being able to serve and deliver and help people, truly help people. So my 5 steps, this is a good chance to get a pen and paper and maybe you write these things down and to put them in a good section on your desk or a workspace, a space where you can intentionally reflect on these things. And if you want to know a little bit more about who I am, those who I personally invited to this live tonight, we already have gotten to know each other over the last few years, or we worked together previously. But if you are new to Laura Botanicals, my business, I started it in 2017. I started it with a local herbal skincare farm stand, started offering herbalism master classes and community events, started hosting speakers and writers, becoming a true hub for holistic wellness. And I decided to shift how I ran my services. So instead of a one-to-one consult model, I started changing it up and decided to work on creating different types of online mechanisms for both serving my clients, even if it needed hands-on work, as well as marketing, and beginning to do that so that I could actually not have to be involved in every single aspect of my day-to-day operation, and or shift how I prioritize my time so that when I did act, it was truly from a rested place, a more creative place, just like we spoke with Caitlin about, who I just really, really admire for her consistency in that particular aspect. It's such a wonderful testament to leadership when you show up rested and able to lead, and be able to lead from a place of conviction and a place from where you know the parts and you can really articulate to everybody on the team what it is, not only what they're doing, but what we are doing together to uphold the mission of the company and to push the brand forward. So here are the things exactly that I did to shift from a business that was truly maxing out everything that I could do as a person, from single sessions, from multiple workshops at multiple locations, from being at full farmers market seasons, from making products constantly, from selling products, to basically always meeting the demand, but never rising or getting in front of the demand and being able to create up an actual plan for myself. Number one, I created an offer that created sustainability. So what that is, or what that was for me initially, was my first group program. It was a package that helped a particular person who had a particular problem, and it had an offer a specific outcome. This is very different than what most people are taught. The problem for most wellness providers I've spoken to, and it was for me as well, was that the business model that I was taught within my training to be a holistic practitioner was based on single session services or even making small, lower ticket physical products, right? Like you learn how to make an elderberry syrup, you sell an elderberry syrup. That was the way to conduct business. And it forced me to always seek new customers all the time because I always needed new customers to be coming in to buy enough products to make back the money that I spent to make the products, right? It's a very simple thing, right? And it made sense. And these weren't very hard things to sell, but it was a very expensive process and very time and energy consuming. So by being another practitioner in my modality as well, just being an herbalist who could help everybody with anything they needed for health, I was seen as a commodity. And I started having a serious energy issue where I didn't know who was going to come in my door next and for what issues. And I was creating protocols and things and procedures for every single thing under the book. And I got burned out. So instead, I chose to, I know we hate the word, but niche down and choose a particular area to focus in, a solution that I really wanted to make an impact on, a solution that people were actually telling me they wanted. So the solution is actually simple when you have a business that has way too much going on. But it does take a conversation with someone who specializes in this to stand out, and AKA branding. This is why, you've done it this way because schools for healthcare are not business schools. And it's not your fault. It just worked that way because it's based, it's not based in business literacy. And really learning those things, learning those mechanics, learning universal sales principles, really, which are actually really quite holistic in their nature, actual marketing logistics. So that is really the first step to understanding how the business model can really impact your longer sustainable vision that you have. Because I don't think you joined this business to create something that took away all your freedom or to make an even harder job and being in a 9 to 5. A lot of people leave their jobs and go 9 to 5s because they really just don't, have the ability or the capacity. It became too much. So I personally do work full time, and I'm building a small coaching practice because I really want to work with a handful of clients in a very deep and meaningful way as I'm building the substantial evidence that what I'm doing can make a real impact in their lives. And I already understand scalability, and I want to scale a thing that really is going to make a big difference. The second step for me was working on the time issue. Time is a huge factor here. How I was spending time before is definitely different than what I'm doing now. I was just kind of going with the fly mess in my pants. I was like, people looking up for the next best event, thinking about events that I should be at, trying to make sure that I got in front of people at all times. Again, my whole goal was just more customers at all times. I kind of didn't have the foundations set, nor did I have a plan in motion that matched the actions I should actually take, not just as a member of my business, but as the leader and the CEO of my business. So really looking at the procedures, looking at boundaries around work, mindset, and motivation. Motivation is huge. Most of the time when we plan out things, we tend to just do the things that feel the most comfortable to us, and we avoid the things that are the hardest. So what if you flipped that and really found the time to do all the things and made them the most important things on your schedule? Also, making sure you give time back to yourself, time that is not spent on the business at all. It's just for replenishment. So just like Caitlin was talking about when it comes to being in nature, taking intentional time where you're off from the things that you think are leaching your energy, shifting your focus and making it a consistent practice for yourself. There's a lot to it. And, you really want to embrace time differently because that's what people in high performance roles do. When you are really making a lot of revenue and really thinking about stacking the bricks correctly, how you spend time is actually one of the most important things in a business ownership. And the third step, there's 5 steps, is understanding what you can and cannot do with your current business model. I'm going to repeat that. Understand what you can and cannot do with your current business model. So this is where I've had some conflict and some tension with my coaching clients. And this is good because tension is not a bad thing. It means that there are discomforts brought up in our conversations that we have to work through, resistances to the work. And one of those big things was, well, I need to make the money now. I don't understand how creating this new packaged offer, this new type of solution, right? Number one, that first step, right? That new offer that creates sustainability might not match the offers you currently sell. So there has to be this kind of bridge between the reality of working with clients the way that you are working with clients, selling products the way you are selling the products, and still adding on or creating this new arm that's going to drive revenue in a different way. And we have to create that matched reality on all accounts. And it's actually quite a lot of fun. It's not very difficult. Usually it's our mindset. If we're open and receptive and willing to try and apply, we're going to succeed. And other things might come up along the way, real things that take away your attention, take away your energy, take away your ability to be accurate. But it is a coach's job to really help you stay accountable to your own self and to the regimens and the things that you know are going to make the most impact, right? So yeah, you can't just throw this in there. It has to be something that's carefully planned out in accordance and in balance with what you're doing so that you can continue to make the revenue you are making while also building the sustainable factor in your businesses. That's kind of a big shift for me. And that shift, that step does not come necessarily just from my own work to do this in my company like I did. This really does come from the work I've done with clients and seeing the efforts that they're making, and where they kind of got resistance. And most of the time it was from not committing to the time that they needed to spend, or understanding how to best use their time, kind of resorting to what's more comfortable or what feels most safe, right? When you're creating anything new, it's not always going to feel safe. What's going to make it feel real is practicing it and repeating it. Repeating, and staying consistent to the things that are showing results in your business. Number 4 is creating a sales system. And we're almost there. There's only 5 steps. Creating a sales system. So this should be a clear plan on how to start, nurture, and develop relationships that turn into sales for your main offer. You can have more than one main offer. Many of you have a whole list of services or a menu of services or a whole list of products in your business plus services. The better you can simplify that and make it something that's easy to repeat for each individual, we call it a unit, the better you're going to have a repeatable process, right? It should be a repeatable process that everybody can execute upon on your team. So some sales stats you need to know, right? 60% of customers say no at least 4 times before ever saying yes. And over 40% of people give up after 1 follow-up attempt. So most people, I can tell you so many things that I have reached out for to buy. And I intentionally write these things down because I'm waiting for a follow-up from that small company to reach back out and just check in and say, hey, you let me know that you wanted this and you never reached out. It's terrible. We are not able to keep up because with the actual what's required for the longer sales journey with a customer, because we're so focused on the shininess of attracting more. And so when we focus too much in that direction, it's not balanced. And you have to have those systems in place and the procedures in place so that you never miss the right opportunity for connection to really work with the people that you're meant to work with. That's the really beautiful thing about having all those steps in place, having that offer, knowing how you're going to spend your time, knowing how you're going to sell, knowing who you're going to sell to. We must answer those things first if we're going to have a truly non-overwhelming wellness business. And your final step, which of course makes the most sense, is that organized wellness business without overwhelm, is a personal health system. A personal health system which involves recipes and routines for daily and weekly replenishment, self-care, and giving back to yourself. I know we say it sometimes, but we truly don't say it enough. There is something deeply wrong with this country when we only depend on service-based providers and wellness providers like yourself, and we don't talk about giving back to those wellness providers. It is not just the money in their pockets that make the difference. It is caring deeply for your service-based providers. I'm not talking to the service providers right now. I'm talking to the consumers. We, as a society, have created the space where we believe that everything from our pains should be immediately taken care of by these service providers, that it is their job to serve them. But who's going to serve our service providers and our medical providers who are burnt out on the system, who are seeing the same patients for the same concerns, who are not seeing the changes that they really want to see in their patients' health? Where we're creating a sense of over-reliance and dependence on our practitioners instead of creating sovereignty in their health. This is where a personal health system for yourself and the ability to create that type of world and environment for your people is truly the way forward. It's the way forward in the sense that it's no longer the model of I go to a professional and they tell me what to do with my body. And I know that in a sense that might be difficult to navigate. And that's why one of my steps is about understanding what you can and cannot do with the current business model. I know that some of you have licensing requirements, and I know that some of you have to see who you have to see based on insurance. And truly, I want to get to know that situation even more intimately. But there are other ways and other aspects to work with your people, other types of solutions that you could work on to that you can serve with to be able to again help their own capacity for stepping forward to be more independent and resilient on their own. And that definitely you can be a leader for how you attain health, and that leadership is what can be reflected, because whatever you're going through and healing through, if you show that evidence to them, they take more initiative and they see more aspects of you, which can be a truly remarkable experience. And if you don't believe me, I just showed you a practitioner who was doing that exact thing and is having a huge impact, who's being invited onto major podcasts, who's being featured on Netflix series. And she's not doing it within the hierarchy of what the modality usually says to do. So she's being banned from YouTube, right? And I just wanted to say that, like, this is an incredible connection to lean upon and to look at, an incredible example to look at. And I think that if the more you create relationships in marketing and in sales, the better you're going to have a truly non-overwhelming wellness business. All right, well, that is my class tonight, and I look forward to reaching out to some of you again and hearing your thoughts on this content. And I hope the rest of you also have a good rest of your evening, and we'll talk again soon. Thanks. Bye.